Hello and welcome to this 9th instalment of the playthrough of all the scenarios of the base game of Command and Colours, Napoleonics. This is the combat at Redinha. It was fought on the 12th of March 1811 between the forces of Wellington and Ney. Wellington was now in full pursuit of Massena's army as they were retreating from the lines of Torres Vedras. So this is a British and Portuguese attack on French positions. The French are quite scattered across here. They're up against these towns and things. A couple of them on these hills. But it's quite a large Allied army that's coming against them compared to the last battles we fought. So these are going to be hopefully pushing forward. This is a 6 victory token game, so compared to the last couple we played where there were 7, this one is 6, so it may be over a little bit quicker. But basically, let's crack on with it, see what happens, and may the best man win. So the Allies take the first turn. They've got 6 cards. They have Attack Centre, Probe Centre, Rally, Bombard, Probe Centre, and Scout Left Flank. So there's quite a lot of centre stuff there. So that might be what kind of strategy we're going to take overall with the Allies if we can push through in the centre. Well, they've got a little bit of artillery. It's foot artillery, so it's better than the horse stuff, which has got a shorter range. So we could bombard first of all. Open up. We've got a couple of artillery units. They get an extra dice if they do use it. So I might do that. They can move up to 3 as well, or not move. Yeah, let's open it with a bombard and let's weaken up some of these French units before we even start. So the first ones are the foot artillery. They've got 4, 3, 2 dice, but they've got bombard, so that becomes 4 dice because they get a +2 for doing that. So let's see what happens with that. That's 2 kills, the sabre is nothing. So that's not a bad start straight away for the Brits. Or the Allies, should I say. Then we've got the horse artillery over here. They were starting on a 3, 2, 1. They're in the woods. So they start with a 1, goes down to 0, but they get the 2 bonus for their bombard roll. So at least they're rolling 2 dice for that. So that's a sabre and a cannon, so that doesn't do anything for them, unfortunately, but we've started the game. Right, so we've got the French first turn. They've got short supply, assault right flank, leadership, coordinated advance and counter attack, which is to play the same card that the British just played. That's not going to be a great deal of use at this point because they've only got the 2 cannons, which can't do a great deal. This one is probably just out of range. 4, 3, 2, 1. Would be able to roll 3 dice against those Portuguese line infantry. But the horse over here, I suppose they could always bring them forward, so at least they're in a position to fire. Let's do that. Let's play that counter attack. So our first roll is 3 dice against the Portuguese line infantry, and that's 2 retreats, so they fall back 1. They can't fall back any further, so they actually lose a block. So that at least has again blooded the Portuguese, if nothing else. And their other move will be to, as I say, bring these forward, so at least they've got the artillery up. They can now fire down, and they're just out of range of everybody else, so that's not so bad. And next up, British. Scout the left flank, probe the centre, rally, attack centre, probe centre, and reconning force. It might be good to reconning force, and again use cannons over here to start some firing. Do a little bit of movement on the right flank and bring somebody down, and also cannons in the centre as well. I think we'll do that. That's probably our best at the moment. So with the reconning force, we are going to bring forward 1, 2, 3. Let's get these down here to start threatening the French in this corner. And we have the artillery is going to fire across here, so 4, 3, 2 dice. And that's 2 cavalry, that's nothing. And then we've got this artillery over here, this is horse artillery, so this is firing on 3, 2, 1 dice. No gets a reduction because they're not firing uphill, they're on the same level. That's a retreat. So that means that falls back 1. And that's the Brits' turn. And we're on with the French. They've got short supply, coordinated advance, leadership, assault right flank, and then assault left flank. Assault left flank might be useful actually at this point. That would be 5 units on the left, and it means they could organise a defence a bit and get some of their troops into some of these buildings. I think that's what we'll do. We'll assault the left flank. You can probably see the cat there has joined me, flicking things about, so I'll just grab that off her. So we can have 5 units moving. So first one is going to be, these are going to move into this town. We've also got the artillery as well, is going to fire at the horses over there. We'll move this forward to these, so this, so far we're on to 3 of our 5. The cat is fascinated with this Portuguese line infantry. And our next, if we move these up here, they can try to attack the cavalry. Once I've moved this cat out of the way. Excuse me, let me. Okay, so we're firing with the artillery first of all, but they're going to do an attack on the cavalry. The cavalry retire and retreat because they don't want to get caught up in this, and they can retire up to 2 squares away. So they will fall back to back to there. However, they do get attacked, but they only take any hits if they roll cavalry symbols. So the artillery is firing on 4 3 dice. So 7 dice. There may well be a hit on the cavalry there. And no, there isn't. Nothing else counts in a retire and retreat. So the cavalry have come unscathed, but there's no other French firing, that's all it is. Okay, so back with the Brits. Scout left flank, probe the centre, attack the centre, rally, and scout centre. I think in this case, I'm going to scout centre, because that's not a particularly useful card, so I'm going to get that out of the way, and use it to bombard again these French over here. So that's 4 3 2 dice. You can try to at least reduce some of these numbers before the attack. So that's another kill. It's a bit of a slow burner, but I think that's the best thing to do. So I'm supposed to take 2 cards, aren't I? Discard one and keep the other. So the other we discard was probe the centre. And French, short supply, coordinated advance, assault the right flank, leadership, and probe right flank. Well, this is a bit of a tricky one. I'm just wondering what to do here. What's the force for the best? We could always use short supply to take 1 unit and withdraw it and place it on one of the base hexes. Place it on a baseline hex that may be entered owning player's choice in the same section of the battlefield. So we're going to take this one and put them all the way down here. Currently they can't enter the river because it's unpassable apart from on the bridge. But that gets them out of the line of fire and stops the British artillery taking hits on them. And again we are on with, for the British, we've got rally, attack the centre, probe the centre, scout the left flank, probe the centre and attack centre. I think we'll probably start doing some attacking on that centre. There's a couple of units here that, you know, these can't fire over, so they might be quite easy to deal with. So let's go with an attack the centre, and we can keep following this up because we know we've got the cards to do so. So we'll send in the Portuguese light, the line infantry. These can move forward and start firing at the French on the hill. So they'll go in. So that's 2 of the 3, and then the other one will be the artillery. Can they actually fire? 4, 3, 2, 1. They can fire at them for 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. They can fire at them for 1 as well. Not a great choice. They're actually out of line of sight of those ones anyway, so they can't. Well, let's fire at these with the artillery. 1 dice. That's a kill. Then we've got the line infantry. They're rolling 2 dice because they moved, but 1 off each because they're firing uphill. So they're both firing at the same target, French line. First one is a kill. So let's test if that is also their leader. Nope. And the second shot is another kill. So we've got to test if that's their leader as well. No, it's not. Well, that's not so bad. It could have been much worse than that. Right, French have probed the right flank, leadership, assault the right flank, coordinated advance, and probe centre. Let's probe centre, do a little bit of firing on those units that are coming down, and also bring these up onto the top of the hill so that they move these back into the town. Sorry, I'm going to put them there. And these will fire at the Portuguese with the leader. So that's 2 dice. Very simple that. 2 cannons, that's no hits. Yeah, I wanted to put these into cover rather than up on that hill. And we're up with the Allies again. Probe the centre, scout the left flank, rally, attack centre, probe centre, attack right flank. Right, let's continue with this attack on this centre. So we're going to do the same again. And both of these are going to move forward. So that's 2 of our 3. The cannon will also fire again down here, so 4, 3, 2, 1. So we'll start with that. 1 dice, that's another kill there. And then we're attacking uphill. First ones are going to be attacking uphill, so they're rolling 4 dice to start with, -1 because they are attacking uphill. Portuguese line only get 1 dice per block. So that's 1 kill and a retreat. The French can ignore that retreat, or they can use it. And I think, well, let's see if their leader is killed. No, he's not. And they can either fall back, or they can battle back. They're probably going to get hit again by them, so the safest thing to do is to use that flag to retreat. So the Portuguese line will then take the hill. So that's a little bit of a bonus for them. And these are going to attack into the woods, into the French there. They're again rolling 3 dice. And that's 1 kill on the light. They will battle back. They're only battling back with 3 dice. And that's 2 kills. So relatively evens there. I was hoping really that this unit here would have been destroyed in that attack, but they've got some more cards that they can follow up these attacks with. And here we have coordinated advance, assault right flank, probe right flank, leadership, hold and fire. This is issue an order to 4 or fewer infantry or artillery units, and they can perform ranged combat with an additional dice. They may not be adjacent to enemy troops though, so that precludes them and them, which are about the only units that can pretty much do anything, I think. Yeah, the artillery is out of sight for the back there, so that's pretty useless for us. Coordinator advance might be useful. I think that's probably best. Let's do something with that. We've got a few bits and pieces we can move around. So our first movement will be to get onto the bridge. This is the only crossing point, as I said, of this river. It's impassable otherwise. So I'll get them there ready to move out to lend a bit of support. Then we've got 2 units in the centre that can move. Let's fall these back because they are just sitting targets right now. The other one is going to be these. They're going to fire, and they're line infantry. They're firing at. They're going to be firing at 3 dice, but they'll fire at the Portuguese light up there, and we've got one more we can move over on this side. So let's bring forward this artillery and see if that can start taking some pot shots on the right flank. So the firing 3 dice, that's 2 kills, and let's see if any of those are on the leader. 2 sabres and he's killed. No, he's not, he's okay. Alright, the British attack the right flank, probe the centre, rally, probe the centre, scout left flank, and cavalry charge. Cavalry charge, is it useful? There's only 2 cavalry units. Seems a little bit of a waste, and also at this point anyway, it's too early for a cavalry charge, so we'll hang on to that one. We're continuing this probe on the centre, I think. That's probably the best thing to do. So 2 units. We've got the 2 rifles, the 2 line. These will fire down on those at least. We may as well continue firing with the artillery actually down here. So 4, 3, 2, 1. So first of all, that's the retreat. They've fallen back, and we've got these 2 dice. They're firing at these units here. So you never know, they might be lucky. Yes, they are lucky. So that's destroyed that unit. Gives them their first victory flag of 6. Victory banner, and we'll see if the leader is killed. He's killed with 2 dice. No, he's not. He needed 2 sabres, so he's alright. And what can the French do? We've got assault the right flank, probe the right flank, leadership, fire and hold, scout left flank. Not a great thing they can do with that lot, really. They could always fire and hold. That might be useful. Yeah, let's fire and hold. But now we've got the artillery up in position anyway. So 4 or fewer infantry or artillery units. They perform ranged combat with additional dice, and they can't be adjacent. So we've got these at least. They're just out of range. We've got the artillery. They're out of range, unfortunately. And that's this artillery. 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, they can fire up there with 1 dice, so they'll do that. So first of all, this one, that's a retreat, but they're supported by 2 units, so they don't have to. Then we've got these 4 firing uphill. Becomes 4. It should be 5 with the +1, but -1 for firing uphill. So that's nothing. 2 artillery and 2 sabres, nothing. And finally the horse artillery here, so that's 3, 2, 1, becomes 2 because they're on the same level, and that's a retreat, which they can ignore because they're supported by 2 units. So pretty desultory firing there from the French overall. Let's see if the British or the Allies can match that. So we've got the cavalry charge, scout the left flank, attack the right flank, rally, probe your centre, and scout right flank. Is it time to do some more in the centre? I think yes. Let's get some more of those units forward. I think that's probably going to be for the best. Get these British Grenadier Guards into the attack. Try to move them forward at this point. Oops, see if they could stand up. Got a good few of them there. There we are. And the general, the Grenadiers. The good thing with the Grenadiers is they ignore a flag automatically, and the Grenadier Guards ignore 2 flags, so they're pretty good with their morale. But that's it, that's all the British are doing. And French. Leadership, probe the right flank, assault the right flank, scout the left flank, and probe the left flank. Right, well, let's go with probe the left flank, and we can bring forward this unit, and they can then fire uphill at the French there. It's only 1 dice, but at least it's something. And then we can also attack with the light infantry into the Portuguese line infantry there. So we'll start with that. 3 dice. That's a retreat and a kill. So they don't get to battle back. They retreat back there, so at least they're out. They can take ground, but they're not going to because they want to stay where they are. These are firing just 1 dice up that hill. That's a miss. So they've at least brought in some support for the units in the towns down there. Right, let's see what the British can do to counter this. So we've got rally. So we could try and bring back some of the units that have lost units. That might be an interesting one. Attack the right flank, scout the left flank, cavalry charge, scout right flank, and cavalry charge. So 2 cavalry charges there. Might want to get rid of those because they're going to start blocking up the hand otherwise. But there's not a great deal the cavalry want to do at this point. And they'll only move 3, so they're a bit too far back, so we'll ignore those. So let's go with the rally, I think. Yeah, the rest are flank attacks. Don't want to do those just yet. So we roll 1 dice for each of our cards, and we get a unit back for the type that we roll. So that's good. That's 4 infantry. That's almost perfect. So let's put 2 of them in there, and 2 of them in there, and then we also get to activate those units. So we can fire with these now, and that's what they're going to do. The first ones, they're firing into that wood. They're only going to fire a -1, so they're rolling 2 dice. But that is a kill. And then these, the 4 of them, they are firing down here. Fortunately, they can't actually fire at the general. They can only attack them in melee. So they're firing at these ones in the open. So that's 1 kill and a retreat. They can ignore that retreat, but they can't ignore the kill. So that was probably the best thing they could do at that point, and it means they're now back almost up to strength. And the French scout the left flank, assault the right flank, leadership, probe right flank, and attack right flank. Again, it's a lot of right flank stuff. They don't really particularly want to waste these. Well, I don't know. Maybe get rid of some of these. Let's get rid of the probe the right flank. We'll use that up. We can send these cavalry forward. 1, 2, 3. We'll bring these up so they can at least go and probably skirmish with the British cavalry. See if they can win that battle, and then they will fire with their horse artillery over here. So that's 3, 2, 1. That's the battery on the hill, and that's a nothing. And the Allies scout the left flank, attack the right flank, scout the right flank, cavalry charge, and flank attack. Oh, that could be useful actually. It could bring in some units on both sides. Yeah, I think that's probably the best one. The other ones are a bit weak at the moment, so let's do flank attacks. we can bring forward the light infantry and fire at those French. Get them down off the hill. They can fire. We can also fire at the French artillery or bring forward the horses. Let's clear a path for those infantry. No guts, no glory. And then on this flank, let's try and dislodge the light infantry here, I think. So they'll go in, and then we'll also bring forward these in support. I did think about bringing those cavalry in, but I'm happy not to at the moment. I think they can stay where they are. So we've got the British cavalry. Let's see what happens here. We'll decide what happens next. So we've got a kill, 2 kills on the French cavalry. So that's them 2 of them taken out. So they will battle back. See, so that's 1 kill on the British. I was hoping that they may have been pushed back so that then they could fire then at the French cavalry as well. But it didn't work out that way. But that's the way it goes. Then we've got these attacking into the wood. They're British line infantry. They're rolling 4 normally, -1 because they're attacking into the wood, so they're rolling 3. And that's 2 kills and a retreat. So that is those dead. And they will take ground moving into the wood. And that's another British victory banner. So they're now on 2 of the 6. French, scout left flank, assault right flank, leadership, attack right flank, the grand manoeuvre, issue an order up to 4 or fewer units. They can move up to 4 hexes, but they cannot battle. So that would be basically moving things around a little bit. They don't really need to do that at the moment. Maybe attack right flank might be useful. I think that's probably the best one. That will mean that we can do a bit of fighting over there. So we'll attack right flank, so the French cavalry will attack the British cavalry, the guns will fire at the guns, these will move forward, and or will they? No, they will move sideways, and we'll see what that French cavalry, what happens with the attack on the French cavalry, and they may attack the British cavalry as well. So we'll start with the guns. 3, 2, 1. 1 dice. That's a retreat. So they have to fall back. They can only fall back to there. So at least that's nullified that threat at least. So the French cavalry, that's nothing. So the the French infantry are attacking the British cavalry. So the British cavalry will first of all battle back. So that's a kill and a retreat. I've got to take that retreat as well. And the French infantry, they moved, but they can attack with a +1, so they can attack on 5 dice. But the British cavalry are going to retreat and reform, so they will fall back to there. So if they roll cavalry symbols, then they've done their thing. No, they haven't. Nothing. So no casualties on the British cavalry at least. And the French cavalry is still in the game as well. So we've got, for the British, cavalry charge, scout left flanks, attack right flank, scout right flank, and attack left flank. Well, it's going to be a flank attack, isn't it? Either way. So it's going to either be a scout or an attack on one or the other. I'm not sure which is the best at the moment. I think perhaps attacking the left flank is probably the best. We can 1, 2, 3, attack that French cavalry unit. Move these into the wood and attack those guys. And then I've got a choice between the Portuguese light infantry, maybe bringing them forward to attack those guns, or bring the guns forward. The guns have been pretty poor, to be honest, at this point. I think so. I'll bring these forward. These can move 2 without firing, so if we bring them up to there, next turn at least they can fire at those guns if we do a flank attack. So let's start anyway. We'll start with the cavalry. So 2 dice, that's a kill, so that's another victory banner, and that also means that they get to do another attack. They can move up and they can also attack again. There's no point in them attacking into there because it's -2 attacking into woods for horses, and there's only 2 of them, so it would be ineffectual and they would automatically get battled back, so there's no point doing it. Now these are attacking with their 5 dice, -1 because they're attacking into the woods. So that's 3 kills and a retreat. They can ignore that retreat or use it. I think they're probably better off ignoring it, because if they fall back then they're in the open. So see if the officer is killed. 2 sabres, he is. No. They get to battle back, but it's a -1, so they don't actually get to do anything at this point. So they're kind of just stuck there, really. But they're better off in the woods than out in the open. Right, we have, for the French leadership, scout the left flank, assault the right flank, grand manoeuvre, and attack centre. Attack centre might be useful to get some of these units together to put the leader at least out of danger. I think that's what we're going to do. So we'll attack centre. This is probably the best one, and we can fire with 2 of them. Fire with those 2, and then we'll move the leader down into here. Safety in numbers, basically. So we've got first ones. Light infantry firing uphill, 3 dice, and that is a retreat, a horse and a sabre, so that's nothing. They can ignore the retreat. And the other ones are 3, goes down to 2, firing uphill. That's 2 kills. So they may have rallied earlier, but they've soon disappeared again. These French are going to be proven particularly difficult to get out of that town, I think. And what have we got for the Brits? We've got scout the right flank, attack the right flank, cavalry charge, scout left flank, cavalry charge, and cavalry charge. It's just cavalry charges. It might just be worthwhile using those to get rid of them. So let's do that. Let's threaten some. So cavalry charge, they get a +1 if they do get into combat. So they could actually attack into there. They'd get 1 dice, so that's worthwhile doing, I think. And then these ones over here, let's bring these light down into these woods, and then we can probably use another cavalry charge to attack as well. So the first one's attacking into the woods, they get 1 dice. It's a retreat, which they can ignore, which they will because they're in the same position as they were. And we have, for the French leadership, scout left flank, assault right flank, grand manoeuvre, and forward. Forward is 2 units in every section. Oh, they could cut these cavalry to pieces and also fire up here as well, do some more firing. I think forward is probably the best thing to do at the moment, so yes, we'll go with that. Because that is going to be a lot of cannonading, I think. We'll move these, so that's 1 in the centre. These will fire. Cannons will fire. And we've got these guys here. I don't know whether to attack the horses with them. I think that's probably might be the best thing to do. It's just to attack those horses, which will retire. And then we've got the cannons firing into the woods there, and that's is artillery firing into woods is a -1, and then we've got these firing up here as well. So let's start with the artillery first of all. This is foot artillery, so it's 4, 3, 2 dice against the cavalry. So that's 1 kill. That's a lucky shot. Then we've got the 3 firing up the hill. They're just rolling 2 dice. So that's 1 kill. Slowly whittling them down. Let's just test if that leader is killed. No, he's not. And then we've got 3 dice up that hill again. So that's nothing. No kills. We don't have to roll for the leader because there's no kills there. They are holding on with grim death. Then we've got the horse artillery. 3, 2 dice. So that is 1 kill on the light. And then we've got the attack on the cavalry. The cavalry are going to retreat, so they just get to roll 1 dice, but -1 because they're coming out of the woods. I forgot about that. So these will actually retreat, but at least it pushes the cavalry back. So that was the French turn. And Britain, let's see what we've got. Scout the right flank, attack the right flank, scout the left flank, cavalry charge, and Elan. Ooh, this is... Elan is quite good. You roll 1 dice for every card you've got, so it'd be 6 dice, and whatever units come up, you activate them, and they get a +1 in their combat. So let's go with that. This could be a good chance to push something forward. So we're rolling 6 dice. See what symbols we get. So that's 2 infantry, 3 cavalry, and 1 artillery. So that is quite useful actually. And so let's see, we've got, well, it's going to be both the cavalry. They're getting a +1, so they will attack into the woods to attack them. And let's give them an activation, so they will go 1 forward. And they will fire. Cavalry will go 1, 2, 3. And attack up the hill into that artillery to try to destroy that gun line. So that's the second. So we've used that one, we've used that one, we've used the artillery there. We haven't got that cavalry anyway, so we've got 1 more infantry unit we can bring in. Let's use these to fire at the artillery up there with that extra +1. Well, actually they can go forward. Or would it be better for them to stand and fire? It'd be 3 dice for standing and firing less, so let's go with that. No, we'll activate them. They will activate to attack into those as well, along with the cavalry. So the cavalry will do their bit first, and then these will attack in. Or we'll move these in between here. See what happens with the cavalry. And then whichever way the cavalry go, these will either attack that gun line or they will attack the remaining infantry. So we're starting with the cavalry over there. They get a +1. Oh, and the artillery, let's just move these up onto the hill. So that's the artillery done as well. So the cavalry starting, they rolling with a 2, but they're -2 because they're attacking into woods, but they get a +1 because of their elan. And that's nothing hit. So the 5 light infantry, that's 5 dice, turns into 6, but -1 because they're attacking into woods, and they are going to attack that because I want to get that kill. 4 kills and a retreat, so that's them wiped out. And now we see if the leader is killed. He's the last remaining one. No, he's not. So he retreats. He retreats up to 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's bring him back there. No, in fact, go 1, 2, 3 into those woods. Protect him because the cavalry could attack him there. We moved these. So they've moved. So that halves their dice, but it gives them a +1. Shooting at these in the open. So that's 2 kills and a retreat. So we've got to test if that officer is killed. 2 sabres, and he is. No, he isn't. So he survives. And then we've got the cavalry. The cavalry are charging up. They're rolling 2 normally, plus the 1, but minus 1 because they're going uphill. So that is a retreat and nothing else. So they have to retreat because they've got no support. So that means they can't fire back. So these can follow up. They can take ground. So they can now do a cavalry breakthrough and attack into there. Now they're on the same level, they're rolling 3 dice. So what's that? But that only takes out 1 block, the sabre. But that was pretty successful. Got themselves another victory banner there. They're certainly pumped from that. And sorted out some stuff on this left-hand flank. And with the French, they've got the grand manoeuvre, the leadership, assault the right flank, scout the left flank, and probe the centre. Oh, it's a bit of a tough one, this one. Maybe assault right flank, they can do some firing with that artillery and get the officer out of there. I think, or they could scout right flank and attack the cavalry there with their artillery over here. Don't know which is better. I think this is a better one actually. Scout the right flank, left flank, sorry. So they are foot artillery, so they're rolling 4 dice. And that is 2 kills and retreat. So they've actually destroyed the British, and they've got their first victory banner. Well done, the artillery. And we take the 2 cards. Take 1, and coordinated advance is the one that they give up. And the Allies, cavalry charge, scout the left flank, scout the right flank, scout the right flank, and attack left flank. So almost exactly the same as what they had before. Let's keep that pressure up, I think, on the left flank at the moment. Try and get rid of these guns and any other bits and pieces over there. So 3 units on the left, they will attack the guns. They will fire at the guns before they go into attack. The artillery will also fire, so that's all 3. So we've got the artillery are going to fire as a coordinated attack with these guys. So we'll do the light infantry first, so they're only rolling 1 dice. And that's 1 gun out. And then we've got the infantry attack, so we've got 4, 5, plus the guns, 3, 2, 1. But minus 1 because they're attacking uphill, so it's 5 dice. And that is, we ignore those, so a retreat and 1 kill. They can't ignore that retreat, so they will then fall back here. The British will gain ground. It means the guns don't get to fire back. But they're on the same level as them now, so they don't get that minus if they're attacking in next turn. So that's quite a successful attack, even though they didn't destroy the guns. They've shifted them and they've also badly damaged them. Right, well the French line is looking very weak at the moment, especially this flank. We've got the grand manoeuvre, leadership, assault right flank, probe the centre, and flank attack. I think flank attack might be the best one at the moment. Yeah, let's do that. We'll go 1, 2, 3 with their leader, get him out of there. The guns will fire. They're not going to be firing at a great amount there. They're horse artillery, so they're all going to be rolling 2 dice, but they may as well at least try to take something out. And on this side, the artillery will fire over here. Well, it's 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, they won't actually. So they will bring them forward, back into their position, and then we will move these away from danger. Try to get them over that river again, back back to their position. So, sorry, yes, I was just doing the firing for the gun. It's only rolling 2 dice. Well, it's either that or it retreats. I think, yeah, it's going to be better to retreat actually, get rid of it, because if they battle back, then it's going to be a case that that's just going to get destroyed. That will just get destroyed, I think. So yeah, we're better off falling back, and then if that gets destroyed, then the French are closer to losing. Right, well, it's still all to play for with the British. We've got a cavalry charge, scout left flank, scout right flank, attack right flank, and forward. Well, let's go with forward. That gets most units moving. We can do quite a lot of damage, I think. So let's get those cavalry in. 1, 2, 3. They can pile into there. These will go 1. These will come forward and fire at the French in the trees here. So that's the 2 on the flank. We've also got 2 in this centre. So let's get these moving. Let's start bringing these grenadiers forwards along with the grenadier guards. They can come up as well. Get these in if we can, along with our leader there. So that's the centre done. These will just fire at those there, and then we've also got one of these units over here. Let's bring these up to at least threaten those guns, even if they can't fire at them this turn. Might be able to in the future. So we're trying to close down as much as possible at this point. So we'll start with the cavalry against the guns. That is a retreat, so that will fall back into there, so the infantry can't fire at it. But these guys, they're starting with a 5, we half that and round up, so that becomes a 3. Firing into woods, that becomes 2 dice. That's a kill and a retreat. They can ignore that retreat because they've got an officer, but let's see if he's killed. No, he's not. They're in the thick of the fighting, these officers, and none of them have taken any hits. We've got the 4 line infantry. British get a +1 if they haven't moved and they fire, or British line do anyway, so they're firing at those on the bridge. And that's 2 kills, so that's another victory banner for the British. Let's see if their officer is killed. No, he's not. They could have finished the game there if they'd have killed him, but the French live to fight on. Another turn at least. And let's see what they can do. Assault the right flank, probe the centre, grand manoeuvre, leadership, and bayonet charge. Well, bayonet charge is out because they have to. They can move 2 hexes and attack, but they don't really want to move anything out of where they are at the moment. Assault right flank is fairly useless because they've only got the 1 gun over there. Let's probe centre, I think, and do some firing. It's not a great choice, but it's probably the best thing we can do. So these are going to fire uphill at them. So they're rolling 3 dice. And that's nothing. And then we've got this, they're just going to fire at them with 1 dice. And that's nothing as well. So very poor there for the French. Right, well, the Allies really want to finish this game this turn, so let's see if we can do that. Attack the right flank, scout the right flank, scout the left flank, cavalry charge, and force march. So, force march is all infantry units in 1 section can move. Now the best thing for that is this centre section, because that would be a lot of units moving. If they are light, grenadier or guard, they can move 2 hexes and battle, otherwise they can hold or move 1 hex and battle, or move 2 hexes and not battle. So let's go with that, force march. Get some of these up here. So we'll 1, 2, withdraw those to there, get them out of the line of fire. 1, 2, bring these up. Fresh units, bring these up. This is kind of what we needed a bit earlier, perhaps. Get these up as well. And the only other unit that we got in this here is these guys. Now I've got a choice. I can either... They've got 3 targets. They've got the guns in the woods. They're probably the hardest one. They've got the officer and the line in the woods. And they've also got the line in the open. These are going to fall probably pretty easily. And then that would probably be game over. So I think it's probably best to go for these. So they can move 2 because they're light and they can still battle. So they will charge forward. And they're rolling 5 dice. If he scores any retreats, he's killed because they can't retreat any further back. Oh, we roll that, fell off the table, so that's 4 kills straight away. He's off. They will follow up just to cut off the retreat of that unit. But that then is the final victory banner for the British. They've won that one. That was a good one. I absolutely smashed that French flank over here. That was a pretty well coordinated attack from the British. Yeah, that was a good card play, I think. They could have done with that grand manoeuvre a little earlier, maybe just to get some of these units up, but they probably didn't need it. The French only killed 1 British unit. Hardly any British casualties to the French, or Allied casualties to the French. Yeah, it's a great game. Another fantastic game of Commands and Colours. So again, as I always say, if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe. Stay tuned for more of these. There's a few, 5 more I think, of these scenarios to come. There's also all the other ones to watch as well if you want to watch those. Thanks for watching anyway, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed playing it. So, see you next time.